Okay, I think we can all agree that 2020 was a pretty difficult year for all of us. So, this year, I hope it'll be better. And the best way to do that is to start with our bodies. You know what? After the holidays, I think it's time for us to eat fresher, to eat lighter, to eat healthier, and we're gonna make sure that it's just as tasty. So, we would like to help you with Gourmet on a budget. We're here to inspire you to make some of the best dishes in the world right in your kitchen, even just for two, without costing an arm and a leg, with the right measurements, and with local ingredients and budget-friendly tips. More than great food for the belly, we'll also have amazing food for the soul, with a bit of sacred history, geography, and scripture. So how are we going to do all this? First, meet the chef in charge of filling our bellies by teaching us how to prepare gourmet meals on a budget. He's an award-winning Swiss chef who's prepared meals all over the world. He owns a popular top-notch restaurant at BGC. He teaches aspiring chefs at a culinary school, and he's lived in the Philippines for a few decades. So please welcome Chef Martin Caspar.
Hi, Johnny.
Hello, Chef.
Hi.
So how are you today?
Fine, thanks. All okay.
Are you excited to be here with us?
Yes, very much so,
And
yes.
are we going to learn a lot of things from you?
I think so, yes. I think hopefully you can catch one or two tips and looking forward to cook with you.
I'm going to cook. Okay, so perfect, because with us today is also a Bible scholar, an educator, a linguist, and he's also media savvy, which makes it easy for us millennials. So in charge of feeding our souls is Father Joel Kamaya, who is also with us today. So please pray I don't chop my fingers off.
Hello, Joni.
How are you today?
I feel so great, especially in this maiden broadcast that we have.
Oh, I'm so nervous. It's a good thing that you guys feel great because
Father.
I'm so scared. Okay, so Chef, what are we preparing today?
Today we're going to do a fish fillet, and I went to the market and I found some nice lapu-lapu, which we're going to do in a herb lemon crust on a ratatouille vegetable with the tomato coulis. We have eggplant, zucchini, bell pepper, and tomato. Those are the ingredients with some garlic and some onions. And then the tomato coulis is actually is a sauce. It's a puree sauce made out of fruits. Can also be vegetable. As you know, tomato is a fruit. It's not a vegetable. So we have a nice tomato sauce, a fresh tomato sauce. The fish I'm using today is lapu-lapu because, like I said, I found this on the market.
Yeah.
But it's easily used also with tilapia or any other white fish which is nicely firm.
You know, Martin, you're talking about tilapia, and that's our native special fish. But if you go to one of these stores at the Sea of Galilee, chances are they would serve you what they call St. Peter's fish. And when you taste it, you would say, oh, this is tilapia. Yes, it's the common fish that thrives in the Sea of Galilee. And then most probably the fish that figured in the miracle of the fish and the loaves in the Bible.
You know what? My grandma, before, when she went to the Holy Land, she ordered St. Peter's fish because she was like, wow, St. Peter's fish, what is this? I must try it. And then she was given tilapia.
Yeah.
So I guess we don't know that. That's really nice information to have.
Anyway, I'll start so you can talk a little bit about the fish and I'll
Alright.
get my herbs.
Okay.
So, which is nice. I have this nice herb garden here, which is beautiful in my kitchen. We can use basically all different kinds of herb. So I'm using a little bit the lighter version. I have dill, I have parsley, I have coriander, I have basil, all different kinds. As long as they are nicely fresh.
And this is all for the ratatouille or also for the...
This is for the crust from the fish. So the lapu-lapu, we're gonna mix that with the breadcrumbs. So you'll see.
So we're using fresh herbs. That's great.
Yeah.
Because I always just use dried herbs. So this is great that we have this.
Yeah.
Do you cook also, Father?
Yeah, a little, but not as much as Chef. You know, we were talking about the fish. It's something that figures very much in sacred scripture, in the Bible. For example, in the book of Genesis, right at the beginning, chapter 1, verse 20, we read, "And God said, let the waters bring forth swarms of living creatures." And then some verses later, "And God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth."
So, Father, you were also saying, so besides that, there's a lot of scripture that involves fish.
Right.
Why is that? Why mostly fish?
Yeah, because Jesus taught in an environment which is around the Sea of Galilee, And in fact, 4 of the 12 disciples were fishermen. And what's interesting is that Jesus called them and then told them, I will make fishers of men. Plus other parables like the parable of the dragnet. And so you catch all these fish, and then in the end, which fish is proper, which should be take in.
That's so fast. That's so cool.
All right.
And what we're gonna also add to the herbs, we add a little bit lemon skin. So, and we call these zests. So we take a little bit of this lemon skin and we chop this as well with our herb mixture.
And for the lemons, you're only supposed to be using the yellow part,
Yes.
right? Not the white part?
Not the white part,
Why is
because
that?
the white part is bitter.
So the yellow part only gives out the smell,
Yes.
the oil.
Right now I smell it already.
Yeah, it smells
The
really
aroma.
good.
So this one now, we add to our breadcrumbs and we're gonna mix that up.
So this meal is good for 2, right?
Yes, this
Okay,
meal is
so
good for
2, but according to the Bible, the scripture, with the 2 loaves, 2 fish and the 5 loaves of bread,
Yeah,
how
right.
does that feed a whole group of people? How does that even happen?
It's really a miracle. They say it's one of sharing, because in the first place, if one did not share his loaves and bread, then there would be no multiplication. So it's something that involves not only the Lord, but involves the members of the crowd,
I
the
think
apostles,
that's,
and
yeah,
all.
I think that's beautiful because usually when we read the Bible, we take it very literally, but at the same time we forget that the people are just as involved. So I
Yes.
love that you said that.
And in fact, it's the only miracle in the Gospels that is found in all the 4, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
I think that's good. Chef, so now what
So,
are we doing?
I have the filet, lapu-lapu, I have my flour, I have eggs, I have egg, I took an egg for my egg wash. So we just
What
mix
is
the
an egg wash for?
Egg wash is basically, because first we're gonna dip it in flour, then we're gonna dip it in our egg wash, and then we put breadcrumbs around. So that gives us later on, when we cook the fish, a nice crust. So, we season the fish, a little bit lemon, salt, black pepper. Turn this around. We do the same thing on the other side. Voila. Fish loves lemon. Lemon and fish is a perfect match, and it just gives a little bit this nice acid taste to the fish. So, and then
Does
we
it
put
remove
this.
the fishiness of the... or not
Actually, a fresh,
necessarily?
not necessarily. No, a fresh fish should actually not smell, right?
Okay, that's
So,
good.
so
tip.
how you see that the fresh is fresh? First of all, the eyes. When you look at the fish in the eyes, it's very clear. Or when you touch the meat and it bounces, and it's also very fresh. And when you smell it, it has to smell good. Anything you cook has to smell good. In the egg wash here, then turn this around, shake a little bit the excess, and then we put this in the breadcrumbs. Now we're gonna toast this. Mixture. Stop.
You know, I've always wondered, why does the miracle involve bread and fish and not meat?
Well, first, it's the common food in the area where Jesus was preaching. That's along the shores of the Sea of Galilee. And then when he teaches, the crowds would come in, and they would come from all over. And that's the most practical thing that they could bring, because it is dried fish, so it does not spoil.
What are we going to be doing next, Chef?
So the next one we'll do is the tomato coulis. So we're gonna cut the tomato
Oh, the sauce.
for our sauce. So I have a tomato, which I'll show you a trick. You can just peel it, and the skin comes off.
Ooh.
So the trick here is actually, you have to place them in hot boiling water, and then you place them in ice water, and then the skin gets very soft, so it's very easy actually to peel. Because it's nice to have the tomato actually without the skin.
Why? Because it...
Skin
for the
is,
film?
yeah, it's also when you eat it, you have this texture of skin, which might be not so good. Cut it into half, 1/4, and we remove the segments. We don't like the segments, we just like to have the meat itself. Those seeds, they don't have actually any taste, so we don't need
I'm going to take home
remove
the
the
seeds.
segments.
And then I'm going to plant.
And then we're gonna slice them just into cubes, because later on, what we're gonna do, we're gonna blend the sauce. So when we blend the sauce, so we don't need to make sure that the pieces are really very beautiful, equal. It just has to be chopped.
Where are we going to blend it? With a hand blender, or do you do it?
We have a hand blender or a bar mixer or anything that would work. Clean as you go, which is always very important. So we take an onion, but it's very important when you chop that when you have the hand, you hold the hand like this. So this one gives you actually the protection that you don't cut yourself. That's very important. So you have actually your nails a little bit backwards, and this one a little bit forward, so you cannot cut. So you take the onion, and then we want to cut them nicely.
So fast.
So fast. And then cut them.
How do I make sure that my eyes don't hurt when I cut onions? Because it always hurts. Is it me?
You keep your mouth open and you breathe through your mouth. You eat a piece of bread, or you cry and then you go to your room and then.
Can I wear goggles?
Or you wear goggles. So we use some of the onions we'll be using for the ratatouille, and some of the onions we're gonna use for our tomato. Then we take a little bit garlic, smash it, and also chop this up. Always imagine, you always eat with your eyes. So that's very important that actually you make things very beautiful because you eat it with your eyes. So I think that's the most important. So now we're gonna do the tomato.
Okay.
So we can turn on the heat. Voila. And then we add a little bit olive oil, please.
How much? How much
I'll
is
tell
on
you.
a
A little bit more. Go for it.
Do you need me to stir that?
Yeah, and now we add now the tomato. You can stir, please.
Okay.
And then we add a dash of sugar.
Sugar.
Just a little bit, yeah. Just do a little bit to remove a little bit acidity from the tomato. Then we add some pepper. We add some salt. And remember, when you add salt or pepper, you can add always as much as you want, but you can't remove it.
So maybe after, like for example, after they cook the dish and then
taste it.
it's not salty enough, they can just
If
add
it's-
on their own. Do I put it back
Yeah,
on the
we
flame?
put it back. And now we're gonna add a little bit wine.
What's the
Some
wine
white
for?
wine. We just also
White
it's for
wine.
the taste. We could actually also use a little bit chicken stuff. That would work as well. But I thought we always have a little bit wine at home, a little bit white wine in the fridge, and it doesn't have to be a very expensive one, but a little bit one with a little bit of acidity, so that would be really nice for you. Voila. And then here I started cutting the yellow bell pepper. So now this one I like to have a little bit more uniform. Nicely bell pepper, and take a little bit zucchini. So we cut this here. You want to try here? So now, okay, very easy. I'll give you the biggest piece.
Okay.
So what you're gonna do is just cut into squares, right?
Will you
Also,
get
like
mad
I
at me
said-
if I cut it into triangles?
Not really, no, but it's okay.
No.
But why don't you go ahead, try?
Okay.
Okay, that
Thank
one.
you.
And then we blended this.
It's not even, but it's okay.
Are you okay?
Yes, don't look at it. Am I going to fail
No, it's so far. Okay.
your class?
No, it's.
See, it wasn't so
Wow,
bad.
good.
You want to cut as well, Father?
Okay,
Okay.
Go ahead, Father.
you go.
Enjoy.
Ah, you're left-handed. Okay.
yeah, I'm left-handed.
Is there a certain way of cut? Because I saw you were going like this to it.
Yeah. I
Why
will-
is that?
Actually, the knives are sharp, right? Perfect. It's not good if you use power with the muscles. It's actually you let the knife do the job. So as long as you move the knife front and back, it really sucks. So you don't just chop it down.
It
You really move. the
slice
knife. Yes, you
it
slice
forward.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Cool. Thank you. Okay. So we also do this the same with the eggplant.
How come in the movie they cut it into circles?
You know, ratatouille, like every chef always interprets their own recipe somehow. But I think you have to respect the ingredients, what goes into a ratatouille. So what goes into a ratatouille is really the vegetable, it's tomato, eggplant, zucchini, bell pepper, onions and garlic, and then also some herbs. But because we have the herbs now around the crust, so I will not add the herbs here in the ratatouille. The tomato, which actually I would like to have inside the ratatouille, I do now as a sauce on the side. So a little bit innovative and something different a little bit, which I think makes it very interesting. Turn again
So
on
what
the
are we
heat.
going to make next?
Now we're
What are
going
we going to cook?
to cook the ratatouille.
Are we going to cook the fish last?
Yes,
Oh, to maintain the crispiness of
exactly,
it.
yes. A regular ratatouille with maybe about 40 to 45 minutes. The one we do is a little bit more a dry one, a little bit a shorter version. So we just cook it shortly and yeah, you'll see the outcome. Take a little bit olive oil. And we need a little garlic. And this here.
And then we just mix that all together into
And then, yeah, first I do the onions and the garlic.
Is that because it cooks slower than the other?
Yes, I just want to have a little bit transparency with the onions. The longer you cook onions, the sweeter actually the onions become. Once it's transparent, as you can see. We want to have them transparent but without color, no coloration. Then we add the bell pepper. It goes pretty fast. Voila. And bell pepper is a little bit longer.
We're just speaking spectators. So this is also a new learning experience for all
Yeah,
of us
right.
because it's gourmet. Because usually I think that, to eat stuff like this, I have to go to a restaurant and then I have to order it on my own. But yeah, it's really interesting to see that we can actually do this ourselves as well.
Again, salt and pepper. Also, when you add salt, it will push a little bit the moisture out. So now, then we deglaze this again with a little bit white wine. And a little bit in my tomato as well. And we're gonna cover this as well, so that the moisture can come a little bit out. And then we'll take about 10 minutes and then we have that finished. So and what I do now with the tomato is, I'm gonna mix it.
Ah, with a hand mixer.
So I have my hand mixer here.
Okay.
So I have this one, which is a very nice tool. And nicely we're gonna puree the whole sauce.
What if we don't have a hand mixer like that at home?
You can use a blender, that works very well, yeah. So now another trick what I like to do is, I like to add here now, what I want to do here is I'm gonna add some olive oil. So that gives it also a little bit different texture. So maybe Father, can I ask you to slowly add here a little bit? It's like emulsifying. Okay, that's enough, thank you. So
How do
that
we
also
know how much to put for the olive oil?
2 tablespoons. Just a little. But it's about 2 tablespoons, which we add inside.
Okay, that's good to know because I can't eyeball and I can't tell how much to put. So I'm gonna check out the recipe definitely. And you know what? You should too.
You see now I have my sauce finished here. Basically that's already finished. And it's very pure and fresh. So it's also with the tomato, depends on how ripe the tomato is. You have a much redder tomato sauce than actually other tomatoes. So you really have to look at it. Nice, ripe, red tomatoes. The next one, we check on our ratatouille again. Don't have enough moisture, so I'm gonna add a little bit more wine again. Anyway, later on, we're gonna cook this so till everything is nicely evaporated. Once we do now our fish, then it will be finished. So for the fish pan, use olive oil, and I'm gonna use also some butter. So I'm gonna mix olive oil and butter together. So what happens there is that it gets a nice flavor, plus the butter will not burn because I added to the oil. So once you add butter and oil together, you cannot burn the butter. So we're gonna nicely heat this up. So this is now nicely hot and I add my fish inside. And I always add it away from me. So I put the fish away from me so that the oil does not go in my face. So now we fry it. It will take about 3-4 minutes on each side. So
Father, are you excited to eat? Are you excited to try it?
Yeah, of course.
it's a very easy dish. There's a lot of ingredients you can actually have at home, which is not really that expensive. And it's fresh. which is the most important thing. It's fresh, no canned food.
And it's surprising that there aren't a lot of ingredients. This one's great because it's very few that you have to buy.
So here is the dish which we're gonna plate now. Finish. I'll take the fish out. See, nicely. And then I put it quickly on a towel, so because the oil can stay there and not on the plate, right?
It looks so good.
So I can make a little bit knells out of it.
Sorry, what's it called again?
Knells. This is like a shape of vegetable which we add a little bit inside, so that it doesn't really scatter around all the time. Like I said, it's nicely fresh. Just add a little bit.
Oh,
There's the fish on top.
goes on top.
If you drizzle a little bit of olive,
So pretty.
maybe a few drops lemon, and that's it. If you want to
Wow,
have a
looks
nice
good.
garnish,
Wow.
we go back to the herb garden. It's beautiful. We have some nicely flour. And then you can nicely add one flower. Right? You always eat with your eyes. This is my dish, the lapu-lapu in herb crust, ratatouille with tomato sauce. So you must both try it.
Okay.
One for
Thank
you,
you.
and this is for you.
Thank you.
Bon appetit.
Merci. It's really good.
Love.
Very light, very
Yeah.
fresh.
That's so crispy. This one's really nice and light.
Yes.
All the ingredients, you can get a feel of them. Yeah.
It's really a complete meal with protein and vegetables.
Sorry, I'm just eating. It's good.
It's really good.
This is a complete meal. You have your vegetables, you have your protein. How much would something like this cost?
I would say it depends on what kind of fish you choose. But today's catch is lapu-lapu, so maybe a little bit more, but you end up for two person, 500 to 600 peso, would be okay.
So it's 500 to 600 pesos for all of this,
Yeah.
divided by 2 people.
Yes.
So it's
it's
not
not
bad.
bad,
That's
yeah.
actually pretty cheap. So turning the tilapia or any fish, any Filipino ingredient that we see in the market, turning it gourmet is a little miracle in itself.
So, knowing that Jesus chose disciples who were fishing for tilapia in the Sea of Galilee, of course, this afternoon we were treated more to something more, lapu-lapu, okay? But this gives us a fresh perspective, and then it makes us appreciate the fish that we have, the tilapia, the lapu-lapu, very popular in the Philippines. But the ordinary fish that was placed in the hands of Jesus was multiplied to feed the multitude. Thanks be to God who has gifted our chef with brilliant creativity.
So we hope to see you again next week when we bring you another of Chef Martin's heavenly gourmet creations on a budget and with Father Joel's divine food for the soul. You can download the recipe on our website. Do subscribe, like us on Facebook, and check out our Instagram teaser stories.
Gourmet on a budget, the difference is divine. God bless you all. Please. Wow.
I
Then we
really
let
will.
them taste it
It's
also.
good. I've already finished
Wow.
half of my fish.